The first mind map we'll start is one that will actually never be finished, and here's why. It's likely you're always meeting new people in your life, and one of my favorite aspects of networking is introducing people to each other. However, we first need to start by identifying who you know and what is their connection to your life. So let's get started. So you'll go to your mind map template you've now created with your name. And you're also going to notice that right next to these little buckets here is often a tab. When you click on that tab, it actually opens it up. So you're going to want to write your current job. Who's your manager? Who are some of your colleagues? And then start with your past job. And then when you click on this and you hit the tab, it will give it to another person, person 1, person 2, and you can put these as names. Then also do the same thing with alumni. Who did you know in college? Who was a roommate? Who is somebody who you were in school with? Who was maybe somebody who you studied with? Also same with high school. A number of people I find have loyalties to their camps or graduate schools. Then you're going to do the same thing to suppliers. I'm going to close these down so you can actually see what the suppliers is because it's kind of a big one. All right, so I'm going to move this over so we can have this be a little bit bigger. So I would recommend that you have an attorney who has your will, any agreements you have professionally, your landlord, things like that. Your car, where did you get it? Who fixes it? These are all people you pay for services. Financial, who's your accountant? Who manages your investments? Who does your banking? Travel agent, who helps you get the heck away, get a break from the world. Also, who's in your support network? Some of this is personal, such as your hair. I have an image consultant that I go to on occasions because I am totally fashion impaired. I don't care what I look like, but I know I need to look good, especially when I'm doing presentations. So I obviously have dry cleaners. Some people are lucky enough to have home help, a cleaner or something like that. Also, spiritual. Who do you go to when you need some counseling or things like that? Healthcare, who's your primary care? People who you or support you medically, and of course, everyone should have a healthcare proxy. I'm going to skip this one on the 5 minutes in the minute, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. The next one is be wise. Politics, religion, and gender. One of the things, particularly after this past election, is we found people who had politics similar to us or politics different to us. Sometimes we would connect and sometimes we would not. Same issues on gender. So one thing you want to take into consideration when you're networking and connecting people to each other is, will this be a conflict, or actually will this be something that actually works between two people? And let me back up to this 5-minute one. Actually, because it actually really it connects to the healthcare proxy. Here's why. In the event of an emergency, who can get to you and who can you get to in 5 minutes or 5 miles? We have many people who probably care about us, but they may be across the planet, or in some cases, across the country, and it's going to take them a long time to get to us. You want to have people who can get to you, a neighbor, a friend, a provider, even somebody maybe, in your building who's just somebody who happens to live next door. But you want to have people who know who you are and who you can get to quickly. And that's an important group I recently learned about after I had a bad fall. Online. We have people in Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all kinds of other online tools, maybe Snapchat. I'm not saying you need to map all these people out, but you kind of want to think about who belongs in what. And one thing you're also going to find is that some people are going to be in many of these buckets. They're not going to be just in one. So let's go over to this side. One of the areas I like the most is volunteer. And I have 2 parts of volunteer work that are important to me. One is philanthropy. I just do it because I care about the cause. Another one is strategic. I may volunteer for a trade association conference that I'm not paid for, but I will have a chance to meet potential clients. Aspirational. Who are some people you'd like to meet? When I do this with my college students, they all want to meet Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. So, I'm not saying those are people who you should want to meet, but, who are some people who would be helpful for you that you would like to meet, and know why? Do you want to meet them because they're famous? Do you want to meet them because they're rich? Or do you want to meet them because you admire something that they've done and you want to find out more about that? Fan club. We all have fan clubs, and this is a very important group for you to identify. Who's the collection of people who like you and have championed you? And you're going to want to send them quarterly updates using a tool such as MailChimp or Constant Contact. I'll talk a little bit more about those details. But start thinking about the people who have championed you, people who've given you feedback, people who've supported you, people who've maybe said something to you that's been difficult. Maybe they gave you some feedback on something you kind of didn't want to hear. Family. So maybe you have a spouse or a partner. Maybe you have kids, pets, in-laws, former family from previous relationships, parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Identify who these people are. Also with friends, again, there's going to be some people who are going to be crossing over from work friends, and somebody who you work with is also somebody who you work out with. Who knows? I have activity friends. These are not necessarily people who support me, but they're people who go to movies, go for a walk. And then there are people who support me. There are people who I call when I'm like, I'm really having a bad day and I need somebody to bounce this off of. Truth. You want to have people who tell you the truth. These are people who are going to say to you, you know what? You need to do a stretch assignment. You need to do something different. You maybe need to learn a skill, or you need to learn how to do public speaking, or how to give feedback, or how to manage. Often we'll have people who we have history with. I mean, these are people who we've known for a long time for whatever reason and whatever circumstances. And we may not see them very often, but there will always be a bond that we can go back to. And also the people who are close by. Those are often sometimes the people who are the 5 minutes, but in many cases, they may not necessarily be the people who will help you out in an emergency, but they are close by for activities or things like that. Then another group you want to identify is who the people you have fun with. Is it sports? Is it gym? Is it the outdoors? Is it movie, theater, whatever it might be? Identify who you go and have fun with. We have such a serious life and so many things are going on. Identify who is someone who you can just put your hair down and relax a little bit. Associations. So you're going to want to have some professional associations. I would have one of these be your industry. Another one maybe be your local community, such as a chamber. Another one would be a peer group. A peer group is a group of people who will give you feedback on your organization and your business and what's going on. This is especially important for those of us who work by ourselves. We need to have a place to go where we can have some feedback. Also, if we don't have people to talk to at work, if we do work for an organization and for confidentiality or whatever it might be going on, you need a place to talk to people, a peer group can be terrific. And then also a business exchange. Many of these groups are places where you go and they're non-competing businesses and you share leads and information that help each other grow your own businesses. So spend some time with this. This will take a while, but just get started. I'm going to say maybe do 10 minutes a day to begin to map out all the different people you know in these various buckets. All right, get going.